Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck. And we've also invited other people to come on the show like we always do. So if they come, that's fine. If not, oh well, always next time. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Blue Jackets world that we got to talk about. The Blue Jackets have played 4 games since our last show. They won one of them, which was beating Nashville 8-4. KIRILL Marchenko had a hat trick. 2-goal performances from Sean Monahan and Adam Fantilli. Got a clip of one of the Adam Fantilli goals I'm going to show. A lot of good stuff going on in that game. We're going to talk about that. And unfortunately, the Blue Jackets lost 7-3 to Colorado, 5-0 to Toronto, and 4-0 to Ottawa. There's still some good moments in all those games, and we're going to talk about it. Also, the Blue Jackets have signed another defenseman prospect. We're going to talk about that. We got some fun other hockey videos to show and so much more. So welcome to the show, everyone.
Oh yeah, welcome in everybody. Just a reminder to hit the subscribe button or follow or share or like or whatever, wherever you're watching this from. If you're watching this from Twitter, YouTube, or listening to this on the audio after the live show airs. Yeah, what another eventful week for the Blue Jackets. It hasn't all been very great events. But still gotta talk about it. Still sucks, but it's the way she goes. The Blue Jackets are all but mathematically eliminated from a playoff contention. So according to moneypuck.com, they have like a 0.03% chance of making the playoffs now, which, I mean, the fact that we're even talking about this with this team this year is insane to me. I mean, you're not going to go 0 to a Stanley Cup in a season, and prior to this season too, we were talking about the additions of Sean Monahan, having everyone back, everyone healthy at the start of the season. We're talking like, oh yeah, they might end up in like the middle of the pack in their division. We were like, my prediction was they're not going to be in the bottom, but we're not going to be at the very top of the division the very year after you have a pretty bad season. And but yeah, and then with the disaster that was Johnny Gaudreau passing away, that did not help the situation in any way. Which, real quick, since we're mentioning it too, congrats to Meredith Gaudreau on the birth of Carter Michael Gaudreau. I've heard that I think Michael was Johnny's middle name, and so she chose that for young Carter Gaudreau. So yeah, this team, we said it for the last few months, playing with house money. They've gone so much closer and further this season than I thought that they were going to. There's still a chance, 0.03% or 0.03% of it's not gonna happen. I don't think, but it would require a lot of losses from some other teams and some wins that the Blue Jackets just haven't been getting here lately. So, speaking of the wins, let's talk about that first one. So, first game we got to talk about tonight happened last Tuesday on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and they made a fool of Nashville, 8-4. Won that one pretty good. And yeah, a lot of cool things happened in that game. And we saw a KIRILL Marchenko hat trick. Sean Monahan was, on Hattie Watch. Adam Fantilli was on Hattie Watch. Fabro scored a goal for the first time since like November or something like that. And yeah, overall, fairly good game. from the Blue Jackets. Obviously, they won by 4 goals, but then on the flip side of that, they let in 4 goals as well.
Right. Yeah.
I'll talk about it a bit. Kevin, what'd you think?
That's a 7 out of 10 game for me because there was so much that you could look at and say they played a pretty good game. There's so much stuff that you could say that the Blue Jackets did in that game that you would like. They think, okay, that's good, that's awesome. I like that. You score 8 goals, which is good. That's awesome. And then KIRILL Marchenko gets a hat trick. That's awesome. And then you get 2 goal performances from Adam Fantilli and Sean Monahan. So that's good. And you get a goal on the power play, which is good because in more recent games that has been an issue for the Blue Jackets where they get these chances to score in the power play and they don't do it. So that was good that you got a power play goal there.
Yeah.
And Elvis Merzlikins did make some big saves there to keep it at 4 goals because that is Nashville. The way they were playing, they could have gotten more. So, big saves from Elvis Merzlikins. So that's all the good stuff. It's everything that you could have wanted. But like you said, Hefty Duck, they gave up 4 goals, and that's just not good. You cannot do that. They got away with one there because their offense showed up. They scored 8 goals, and Elvis Merzlikins made some big saves there to keep them in the game and give the Blue Jackets a chance to get those 8 goals and build up on that lead. But realistically, you cannot do that every time and get away with that. It was a little sloppy defensively. Part of that is because when you watch that game, Nashville was really pushing the pace or trying to be aggressive, trying to get, as soon as they get the puck, trying to push it the other way, be aggressive, put pucks on that, trying that run and gun style game, very open, very aggressive. And that's the Blue Jackets kind of fed into that by not being so defensively sound. And in some ways, it helped them out because they did score some goals off of that. But in some ways, it didn't because that's how Nashville scored some of their goals, is just feeding into that run and gun style that Nashville was trying to do that game. If you just play more smart defensively like they've done for the most part this season, that doesn't happen. So realistically, if it's a 7 out of 10. Good moments there, a lot of stuff you like, but you just can't give up 4 goals. And even Dean Evison kind of called a timeout there earlier on in the game to settle things down. Guys, we can't do this. We need to get going here. And sure enough, they do, because shortly after he called the timeout, the Blue Jackets get going. They score 3 goals quickly. And that was the first period was 9 out of 10 because you do give up a goal there. So 9 out of 10. And then so then the second period, you're up 4-1, and then bad defense, you give up 2 quickly. It's 4-3. And then what is really a moment in that game that really kind of eventually turned it around for the Blue Jackets is that Adam Fantilli scores the 5th goal. But before that, Nashville is in their offensive zone, and it's just shift after shift after shift of just Nashville just putting the pressure on and getting shots on goal and getting chances. Elvis Merzlikins is making some big saves, keeping the Blue Jackets in the game. And then what happened was Nashville, they're in the offensive zone, and it was just a dumb turnover by Nashville. The player with the puck for Nashville tries passing the puck to the middle of the ice. It gets picked off by Boone Jenner. Boone Jenner passes the puck to Adam Fantilli, who breaks free for a breakaway. He shoots and scores. And when you look at the replay on that goal, it was so ridiculously stupid and not smart for the Nashville player to do that, because when you look at the replay, the middle of the ice was not open. You had Boone Jenner standing right there, getting ready to just pick that off if a puck came there. And that's exactly what happened. As he tries passing to the middle of the ice, it gets picked off by Boone Jenner. He passes it to Fantilli. Fantilli goes on a breakaway, shoots, and scores. when you watch the replay, the smarter play from Nashville would have been to just pass the puck back up high to the point because that's where the open spot was, and then move the puck around that way. He didn't do that. He passed the puck to open the ice. It gets picked off by Boone Jenner. Puck goes to Fantilli. He shoots and scores, and that was really a big moment right there that really kind of turned it around for the Blue Jackets, because shortly after that they scored 3 more goals right there, and then it's 7-3 after 2. And then eventually Marchenko scores, make it 8-3. The hat trick happens. Nashville scores again, honestly, because I just think that, they're just being sloppy defensively and just pushing for a goal. And at that point in time, you were up 5. You really don't need that. Just play smart defensively and do not do anything stupid that could have given them momentum. So overall, 7 out of 10 game, a lot of good stuff there, but you gave up 4 goals and need to play better defensively, but still some good moments there.
Yeah. I got a couple points to make about this. Then we have a question from Twitter X about Elvis Merzlikins I want to talk about too, because we were talking about this before. Anyway, so I noticed though with the Nashville game, I'm getting some echo return back here. Just a heads up. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Sorry.
Oh.
I want to talk about that game just first a little bit. So also I'm getting really bad echo from your end as well.
Okay.
So anyway, Sean KIRILL had the most minutes on the team. Sorry, hold on. It's not really typical of KIRILL. Generally, we're seeing players like Monahan, Marchenko, and Johnson and Fantilli and all that getting the top minutes. But in fact, Adam Fantilli had the fewest minutes of any player, any forward. Sorry, I should have specified too. KIRILL had the most minutes for forward. Now, to be fair, the minutes are evened out a little bit. They've all been doing like very well. I believe at the beginning of the season, Everson talked about how whoever's working the hardest is going to get to play the most, and so I definitely see that in KIRILL's game a lot. KIRILL, Monahan, Marchenko, Olivier, they had the top minutes of the game. Luke Cunnin. He had quite a few minutes, but then we have Kent Johnson, Boone Jenner, Cole Sillinger, and Adam Fantilli, like at the bottom of the list. Now, granted, it's not by a lot, like I mentioned before. There was quite a few. There's been changes the entire time here. Let me do something really quick. Anyway. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was interesting. I've been seeing even towards the end of the year here, especially with the players coming back from injury a lot. You don't see quite as much time on the ice. Now, I think it was kind of funny that well, once again, we looked at some of our top players, not with the top ice time. Now, it's only a minute or 2 difference, but Zach Werenski was 4th in ice time for the defenseman. So we're looking at this game where they won, and I'm looking at these minutes that are kind of like backwards from normal. I'm wondering what's kind of going on here. And simply put, I think it's just who's working the hardest, and who's really putting that time in. Also, I have something funny from this game to share. I just want to share the penalty list from the 3rd period. All right. This is Nashville. Evangelista tripping against Sean Monahan, minute 04. 6 minutes, 23 seconds. Sean KIRILL high sticking against Barron. 11:04, Provorov interference against Blankenberg. 14:27, Bunting roughing against Provorov. He got 2 roughings against Provorov. So that's 1, 2. This is like already like the 3rd penalty. Provorov also got a roughing against Bunting. Then Severson's got tripping against Forsberg. Svechnikov hooking against Danforth. Provorov holding against Forsberg. And then here we go. O'Reilly unsportsmanlike conduct against Provorov. O'Reilly fighting against Provorov. Provorov fighting against O'Reilly. Provorov had 11 minutes of penalties. I think O'Reilly ended up having 7. I just think it's funny because like the first period there was a holding, and the second period there was a slash and hook. High penalty game. That's what happens when teams get more desperate in the third period.
Mhm.
But anyway, let's talk about this question real quick from Jeremy. This is on X. He says, I know this is not related currently, but any traction to CBJ moving Elvis in the offseason? Should we hold on to him, or are we unloading all the Yarmo contracts? This is a very relevant conversation because we were just talking about this beforehand. And truth be told, it's very hard to tell. I don't know about this traction because when you really think about who Elvis is, and so Don Waddell said that he was looking to try to trade for Elvis when he was in Carolina. So I just don't see Waddell losing complete faith in Elvis over um, a couple bad games. And yeah, he's not ranked the highest in the NHL by any means. But when you look at the numbers from last year to this year, um, let's see real quick. So save percentage in the entirety of the NHL is going down because it's not inherently great. But I'm looking at his record right now: 25 wins, 21 losses, and 5 ties / overtime losses. So he's got a positive winning record. That's more than he could say last year. He had 13 and 17 and 8. The year before, 7, 18 and 2. The last time that he was this good was in the 2021-22 season. We had 27 wins and 23 losses, and 7 overtimes. So it's got, there's some improvement. He played 52 games this year. That's so many more games than he was able to play the last 2 seasons. So I can't see them giving up on him, especially with Don Waddell in there. Also, I don't think it would be impossible to move him, but I think that his having 2 years remaining on a $5.4 million contract. But I believe we're about to see some sort of turmoil and some sort of heavy, heated competition coming up in the goaltending department for the Blue Jackets, because Jack Greaves has an NHL contract next year.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a 2-way contract anymore. So granted, they could just pay him a shit ton of money to play for the Monsters, but like, why? And do you really see Tarasov or Merzlikins going down and playing for the Monsters? I don't see it. So we just got another comment here from Jeremy. I'm gonna read this one, and then Kevin, I want your input here then too.
Yep.
Jeremy said, I'm not completely shitting on Ellis, but there was some static last year with him not wanting to be a backup. Yes, there was some drama about that, especially with Pascal Vincent being there. We offload Corpian and stuck with Prima Donna Tarasov, but I think Jet has a 1-way contract for CBJ. Yes. So there is potential to be a huge mix-up in the Blue Jackets goalie. I mean, you could carry 3 goalies. I mean, shit, I carried 4 for my fantasy team, and it did really well for me the entire season. But like, you can't do that, So, what do you think, Kev? Goner, staying, buyout?
I do believe there is some traction to the Blue Jackets potentially moving on from Elvis Merzlikins, in my opinion. How much? I don't know. Is it big? Is it small? Is it somewhere in the middle? I don't know. It's just something to consider here. Is
Is it
that
fans talking, or are there experts talking about this?
Yeah, I think there's something there. How much? I don't know, but it's something to consider here because this is really going to be the first full off season that Don Waddell is going to have with the Blue Jackets, because he basically, metaphorically speaking, got thrown to the wolves last off season, where it's like, okay, welcome. Okay, it's late May and the draft is almost here. So best of luck to you in that regard. I know you didn't have a lot of time to prepare there, but okay, here you go. Oh, now you got to also figure out, do you want to keep Pascal Vincent or not? Oh, well, you got to meet with them. Okay, you met with them. Okay, well, you decided you don't want them. Now you got to go find a coach. Oh, here's free agency. You got to deal with that. Here's development camp. You got to deal with that. Patrick Lining wants to get traded. You got to deal with that. And then fast forward, it's like, oh, fuck. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, Matthew Gaudreau, unfortunately die. And you got to find a way to deal with that. And you got all this other stuff going on. And, Blue Jackets outdoor game and all this stuff that's going on. And now that all that stuff is done, it's out of the way, you have a full off season now to truly focus on what's going on here, make moves, and put your input truly on it. Maybe, it is true he did try to trade for Elvis Merzlikins. That is true. So maybe that lends itself to maybe he doesn't get rid of him. But then on the flip side of that, maybe you do, because there's been times where Elvis Merzlikins has not been very good, and there's been times that the Blue Jackets have lost a game because Elvis Merzlikins let in a goal or two that was not good, and that led to the Blue Jackets losing that game. Maybe you make that decision and say, I think we can do better. On the flip side of that, Elvis Merzlikins has been really, for the most part, been really good, and he's been a big reason why the Blue Jackets are where they currently are, which is still fighting for a playoff spot. You're in the month of April, and you're still fighting for a playoff spot. Albeit it's a very small chance, but the chance is still there. Win your games and hope other teams lose. The chance is still there. That's something that you could not say about the last couple seasons involving the Blue Jackets. You just couldn't. You could not say that it's the month of April and they're still fighting for a playoff spot. You just couldn't. That counts for something. It's also another thing to realize that the Blue Jackets, they may want to try and trade him, and they may try to trade him, but it may just come down to no one's going to want to take that contract. Other teams might look at that and say no, and then you might be still stuck with that. Having said that, because Merzlikins has played better the last 2 seasons, that contract is easier to move. If you would have done that a couple seasons ago, good luck with that, because you would have gone nowhere with this. This, you still have a chance because he's played better, that it's easier to move that contract. I don't know.
Especially, so the thing is too, Waddell is not afraid to shy away from blockbuster deals,
Right.
and there is more than enough cap space on the Blue Jackets to sign 1, 2, 3 decent stars out there.
Right.
There's to be fair, there's some UFAs and RFAs they got to take care of first, but they could always retain a little bit. They could always Yeah, I agree a lot with you, Kev. We had Jeremy says, do either of you feel like there's been a shift shortly after the outdoor game, morale-wise, defense-wise, or has our defense been a liability all year? I think a little bit of it has been Elvis keeping us, the Blue Jackets, out of the shitter sometimes, just making up for it a little bit better. But then morale-wise, I think everything got really serious. Everyone was getting back from injury, and there was this playoff push that they were trying to do, and I almost feel like people got a little tired, especially maybe some of the guys coming back from injury or so. And I
just think
it feels like other teams are getting more playoff ready quicker and better than the Blue Jackets. That's what it feels like to me.
And you have a lot of guys that don't know what it's like to be playing in games late in the season where you're fighting for a playoff spot. This is a totally whole new ball game, because I've said this before, regardless if you are fighting for a playoff spot or you're having a not good season, or you're having a good season, as the season goes on, games get harder and harder and harder and tighter and tighter and tighter. Teams are playing much better defensively, and what was open earlier on in the season is not open anymore. And so that you have to find a way to just fight through it, grind it out, and find a way to get that goal, find a way to get that big save, find a way to win. And that's an important learning lesson that teams have to learn. When you are building yourself up, like the Blue Jackets are, that is a lesson that you're going to have to learn, and they're learning that lesson right now. They're going through the thick of it. And for the most part, it has not gone well, in part because a lot of these guys, they don't know what that's like. They don't know what it's like to be playing games late in the season when it really it matters times 10, when it heightens times like 11, when you're fighting for a playoff spot. But these guys will be better for that. They will know that, and come next year, if you are in the same spot again, you will know what it's like, and you will be better for it. I've also seen people throw this one out there on Twitter and Reddit and a whole bunch of other stuff. A lot of people think that the Blue Jackets basically just used up a good chunk of their magic for the Blue Jackets outdoor game, in the sense that they just all season long, they're playing hard, they're working their ass off, they're giving everything they got, they get to the outdoor game, and then there was just so much hype and excitement and emotion, so much, up and down and everything in between, and the tribute for Johnny Gaudreau, and there's stuff with Ohio State there, and just the whole excitement, the pomp, the circumstance, the excitement of the outdoor game that the Blue Jackets had, that they put everything they basically had for the most part into that. And then ever since then, it's just like, for the most part, they're just not there anymore. That they just maybe just, for the most part, used up most of what they got. I kind of agree with that to a certain degree, because it does kind of feel that way to a certain degree, that maybe they just used up a good chunk of their magic for the Blue Jackets outdoor game. And then after that, for the most part, it hasn't really been there, minus a win here and there, sort of thing. It's like when you have a lot of these guys, they don't know what it's like to play in these games when you're fighting for a playoff spot. It does show, but they will be better for it. So,
oh yeah, well, and come this time next year, they'll have that experience. So next season they're gonna start off with being able to watch gameplay from the season where they have the same coach for more than one season,
yep.
and many of the same teammates for more than one season,
Yep.
and there's gonna be, this whole season's almost been an experiment of sorts, because you didn't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Damon's an experienced coach, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they do with a little more experience that way.
I do. I'm gonna offer a little pushback here. Maybe this is true, maybe it's not, but to my knowledge, I do not think that Danil Tarasov is a prima donna. From what I've seen by reading about him and just watching them play, and just how his teammates and like people that are there every day talk about him, whether it be from like Jody Shelley or Steve Mears or Bob McElligott. From what I've heard, it just seems like that Danil Tarasov is just a very simple, straightforward guy, and he just goes out there and does his job. And when you need him to play, he goes out there and does it. And then when you don't need him to play, he just, says nothing about it and just goes about and does his business. So the pre-Madonna thing, that may or may not be a thing, but I'm of the belief that I don't think that's a thing. So I'm going to slightly push back on that. But I think everything else is pretty good here of what Jeremy is saying there. And then
never seen him punch anyone yet, but I don't always mind it.
He also,
sometimes when the game depends on it, but it's cool.
And he said you beat me to it when you were talking about
Oh yeah,
Reeves. So we'll
and
put that up there.
yeah. So like that is going to complicate the talks about Elvis a lot. It's just the players in the spots. I mean, that's what's going to end up happening with our defense too, and UFAs this year and all that. So,
And,
um,
and you look at it this way: is the Blue Jackets have goalie prospects that are coming eventually. They have Jet Greaves. They recently Evan Gardner's one of their goalie prospects who they signed to a deal, 3-year deal recently. They have Ivan. Uh, they have Sergei Ivanov over in Russia. He's going to come over eventually. So this goalie thing, it's not exactly set in stone right now. One of these guys is going to be the guy.
yeah,
Danil Tarasov, I'm of the belief now that he's been a good goalie for the Blue Jackets. He had a real good second half of the season last season, played real strong. He was a big reason why they won some games and were much better in the second half of the season last season. And he's had some good moments this season too, why he's good. He just hasn't been as good because, in my opinion, when I see him, I am of the belief that he's better to be a starter and not a backup. It just seems that way, but he's not getting that, in part because Elvis Merzlikins, for the most part, has played really good and earned that spot. So it's kind of hard to justify taking Merzlikins out of a spot and get Tarasov in there when, for the most part, he's playing pretty good and he's winning you games. And there are many reasons why, but Elvis Merzlikins is one of the big reasons why the Blue Jackets are where they are right now, being competitive and fighting for a playoff spot. So this is going to it's an interesting goalie situation, and there are many options that you could go with this, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this goes. And now we got to move on to the next 2 games or next 3 games to talk about.
yeah, we got a couple here. I'll just go over the gist of it, and I'll have you go through some details here. So after their 8-4 win against Nashville on Tuesday, on Thursday the 3rd, they lost. They lost 7-3. In fact, to the Colorado Avalanche. This is a rough one, especially because it happened at home, but at least they weren't shut out. And this game, out of the last 4 games, the Blue Jackets have only let in. No, granted, they didn't win 3 of them, but they've only let in 1 power play goal. Now, obviously, losing the games is not like make up for that, but that is one thing that they've struggled with lately, as of late. So, of course, it was Kilmer Carr. But yeah, I don't even want to go over all this scoring because it's just a little bit depressing. The Blue Jackets had quite a few shots on goal. It wasn't like some of those games where they were getting they had 11 goals going in the third period, or 11 shots on goal going in the third period, or something crazy like that. They had 30 shots on goal. Avalanche is 32. Obviously, Colorado was 1 for 2 on the power play. Blue Jackets had quite a lot more hits. Avalanche was blocking a bunch of shots, but they also gave it away a bunch. It was really strange because this year, earlier in the season, the Blue Jackets beat Colorado 6-4 in Colorado. That was October 12th. And so it's interesting to take away from that. Now we're looking at a Colorado team that is looking at playoffs, and you've got Nathan McKinnon in there, Cale Makar getting to playoff mode, going ham here at the end of the Taves returned. I think he was out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so Charlie Coyle had a nice goal in there for them too. And this is what we were talking about a little bit ago too. I really think that just the Blue Jackets are struggling to get into that playoff mode, whereas other teams are there. That's why I think Nashville was a much more contained domination of a game, because they're not looking at the playoffs at all. They're not getting playoff ready. Yeah, I think we saw the results of that in this game.
Yeah, this is the thing about the game against Colorado is that Colorado scores. It's 1-0. Shortly after that, they score. Goal by Sean Monahan. And it's just perfect because they're doing what they need to be doing, in my opinion. It's just shoot the puck, get pucks on net, and then score. See if you can score off of that. And that's what happened. It's a shot from up high. Goalie for Colorado makes the save, and then Sean Monahan is right in front of the net. Puck bounces to him, he shoots and scores. So it's tied up at 1. Then Colorado scores. It's 2-1 going into the first. And then you score 2 goals to make it 3-2. And you're playing a pretty good game there. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. And it just went down the pooper after that. Because Colorado is one of those teams that you have to play really good defense against them. You cannot give them anything to shoot at. Anything. If you slip up and you just give them just the slightest chance to score, more likely than not, they're going to score because that's just how good they are offensively. And unfortunately for the Blue Jackets, that's exactly what happened. They just let up a little bit, just not as good defensively. And then, boom, the Avalanche turned it on and just scored like crazy. Goal here, goal here, goal here, goal here. And you look back at that game, and that is a game that realistically you should have had that there because you were playing a pretty good game there. You're winning 3-2, and then you just slip defensively, and you give them just the slightest chance to score, and that's all they need. They don't need a lot of room to score. And then they score, and that's basically the end of the game right there. All because you just made the decision to just slip up defensively, not play as good. And a team like Colorado, that's all they need. They don't need much room, and boom, it's in the back of the net. And then you go back and you look at that game, it's like, well, that's why we lost. And realistically, that's a game we probably should have had. And if the Blue Jackets don't make the playoffs, that's a game you're going to look back at and say, probably should have had that one there. But unfortunately, it went that way, and that's just how it goes, is when you play a team like Colorado that's just that good offensively, they don't need much time to shoot at, and you slip up defensively, it's in the back of the net, unfortunately. So that's just how it went. There was some good moments in that game. You just let it slip from you.
Yeah, I would give it's like a D- for me, but only because the next 2 are Fs. Yeah, let's move on to the Toronto game too. Even for shots on goal, but Toronto beat the Blue Jackets 5-0. Shut them out, in fact, which is just unfortunate. I didn't want to talk about the guys who scored because none of them were the Blue Jackets. Like shit. Like this was a fairly even game, like within the stats, other than goals. It's just what happened. And I think in the third period, man, they started getting really frustrated. You know, they had the roughing there between Fabro and Nice and Benoit and Olivier, and then Merzlikins got a tripping there at the end too.
Not a tripping.
Yeah, no, that was sad. But yeah, I mean, you can't deny the Leafs are doing really good this year. Nylander has 44 goals. Well, at least in that game, he had 44. Yeah, his 44th. I mean, Matthews got his 30th goal in that game. You know, some of these dudes. Mitch Marner has 70 assists after that game. They're in playoff mode too, and they are just we're always a step ahead.
Yeah. It comes down to this, is that first period, Blue Jackets played a real good game there. Only thing you could rip on them for is they gave up a goal there to be down 1-0. Other than that, that was a pretty good period, 9 out of 10. They had some chance to put it away. They outshot Toronto, like minus giving up the goal. They did everything that you could have wanted, minus score. Like, there was a pretty good period there. And then it just went down the pooper after that. It just did. It just not good. And the goal that really stands out to me is when it's 4-on-4 and Toronto scores to make it 4-0. And it's a goal that's a goal that Elvis Merzlikins, in my opinion, has to have. Because what happens is Toronto has the puck, they skate into the offensive zone, and William Nylander has it. And he's pretty high up in the offensive zone. He skates, makes like one move, shoots, and scores. And Branson kind of screens him a little bit, so I can see why it's kind of hard to stop it. But a shot from that up high, you have to stop that, because essentially that basically killed it right there. Whatever chance the Blue Jackets had, it was gone after that goal. And I remember watching that game on my TV. And when that happened, I'm yelling. I got upset. I got frustrated. I yelled at Elvis, like, Elvis, man, like, you got to have that goal there. Like, you can't do that. Just no. And that's the story of Elvis Merzlikins, is that for the most part this season, like 99% of the time, he's been awesome. And he's a big reason why the Blue Jackets are where they are right now. He has kept them in games, made big saves, and give the Blue Jackets a chance to get their game going and score a goal. And then they get going, they win the game. And then unfortunately, there's that 1% of the time that happens where he lets in a goal that is just awful. And it hurts the Blue Jackets. The game against Vancouver, they win in a shootout, so they got away with it. But when Matthew Olivier scores to make it 6-5, a little over 2 minutes to go in the game, big hype, big excitement, everyone's going crazy. The momentum is on the Blue Jackets side, and then Vancouver goes down the ice, scores because Elvis Merzlikins let in a squeaker, let in a bad goal, unfortunately. And that's what that was in Toronto, the 4-0 goal. He let in a goal, and unfortunately, that was not good at all. And then he gets scored on again, and the Blue Jackets lose that game 5-0. And minus that first period there where you played pretty good, minus giving up the goal there, that was basically a 1 out of 10 for me. Just
that's, I mean, scoring a single goal would have at least, like, made me feel a tiny bit better because it happened again. We'll talk about that game here in a second, because we have Stanley Franks. What's up, Stanley Franks? Thanks for joining us over on YouTube. He has a comment here. It says, leaving Elvis in net these last 3 games and not playing Tarasov was dumb. Switching Voronkov off the line with Monty and Marchie, which was the best 5-on-5 scoring team in the league, was dumb. I was trying to get at that a little bit when I was talking about minutes earlier, about Voronkov not getting the same minutes that he was getting, since, like, we had everyone's back from and being healthy. But so realistically, you have to play. If they're your number one guy, you play your number one guy. That's what they're contracted there to do. Now, we'll see how that changes for next season. But at this point, I mean, you got to throw him back in there. That was one thing. So, real quick with the minutes with the Toronto game, they got flipped there, and we saw, some of the guys getting more minutes there towards. It was like flipped from Nashville, and then the score was they were shut out. So I don't know what that says, but we'll talk about your next comment here in a second. But what do you think, Kev?
I can see why people don't like having Elvis Merzlikins play these games and want more starts for Tarasov. I understand that. I could see that point of view. I guess my only slight rebuttal is that the Blue Jackets are fighting for a playoff spot. Yes, it's still a small chance, but they still have it, and they're still fighting for it. And as of right now, who is giving you the best chance to win a game right now, and basically all season for the most part, it's Elvis Merzlikins. If the Blue Jackets were in a spot where they're not fighting for a playoff spot and they weren't doing as well as they are right now, you absolutely can make that case that, yeah, give Tarasov some starts, because that's essentially what they did last season. The second half of the season, Elvis was hurt and that played a role into it, but they also gave Daniil Tarasov a lot of starts the second half of last season. What was the end result of that? The end result of that is that Daniil Tarasov played a real good game there. He played good, strong second half of the season, and the Blue Jackets won some games because of Daniil Tarasov. So I can see why you're going there. But when you are in the spot that the Blue Jackets are right now, which is currently fighting for a playoff spot, Elvis Merzlikins has been your better goaltender. It's no disrespect to Daniil Tarasov, because he's been a good goalie for the Blue Jackets too. He's helped them win some big games for the Blue Jackets. So, but if your choices right now is Elvis Merzlikins or Daniil Tarasov, in my opinion, you're going to go with Elvis Merzlikins. I can see why you don't like getting Voronkov off the top line. I can see that him and KIRILL Marchenko and Sean Monahan have been outstanding. They've been awesome. They have been, if not one of the best scoring lines, the best scoring lines, 5-on-5 in the NHL the entire season. I understand why you don't like that. I don't like that either. But then when you look at the other lines they've done, it's also been good too. So, it is what it is. You're trying to, even it out, spread it out so that all the teams aren't just focusing on that one line. If you spread it out, every team has to be more careful how they play that defensively, and teams are going to get the Blue Jackets guys will get more better chances because of that. So I can see why Stanley Franks is upset with that, and I agree to a certain degree, but I understand.
So, his next comment, I don't want to spend too much time on because we kind of already talked about it. He says we have to trade Elvis and Severson this offseason. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. We need a real number one right defense and a real number one goalie, maybe even Marner, LOL. I mean, like we said, blockbuster trades, it could happen. But then he says, P.S. I've loved everything Dean has done all year. I just think he had a brain fart. We know what we have with Elvis, so it's time to use these last few games to see what Tarasov can do. I think now that they're at a 0.03% chance, yeah, I think it's time to bring up some young guys, throw them out there for their first games, throw Tarasov out there, maybe even bring up Greaves. Throw him out there for a few games before he's got to go to. I don't know. Are the Monsters? I'm assuming they're going back to the playoffs this year.
They're still fighting for a playoff spot. They haven't gotten it yet, though.
Gotcha. Because they're just so good last year and whatnot. So
I think as long as the Blue Jackets officially have a chance, I still think they're going to have Merzlikins and go as much as you can. And in the event that you don't officially have that anymore, then I could see you put Tarasov or someone else in there. But until you officially don't have that chance anymore, I think that it's still going to be Elvis Merzlikins for the most part. And the next time we see Daniil Tarasov, in my opinion, will be one of the games on Saturday or Sunday with the back-to-back with the Washington Capitals. I would like to say something about this. Severson does seem like the guy, if you had to pick a guy that is probably most likely going, if you had to pick a guy. There's things that I like about Damon Severson. He's big. He's a right-handed shot defenseman. He can skate. He's a good puck mover. He has good offensive instincts, good on offense. Good, he's shown he can be a good passer. He can score goals, stuff that you want. But then where he gets in the way is, unfortunately, he just has these little brain fart moments where he tries making a play when it's not there, and then that play gets picked off, and sometimes it gets picked off, it goes the other way, and it's in the back of the net. You can't, one or two times you don't like that, you don't want that to happen, but you accept it, you live with it, you move on with your life. The issue is that time and time again this season, you have seen Severson have these moments where he has a brain fart, and he does that play where he tries making a play where it's not there, passing a puck to a place where it's not there. It gets picked off. and it goes in the back of the net. Sometimes Elvis Merzlikins or Danil Tarasov are there to put a stop to it, but sometimes they're not, and you just can't keep doing that. You just can't keep doing that. And I think that is a reason to believe that he probably is going to get moved. Though teams are probably looking at that contract and go, no way. So the Blue Jackets, if he's going to get traded, are going to have to probably eat some of that, which I get it, but I'd rather not that happen because then that eats into the cap space that the Blue Jackets do have, which is ridiculously huge at something like $26 million. You'd rather not have to eat into that with buying out a contract. You'd rather have that to sign some of your guys,
especially because it's not just this year's cap. It's
yes,
next,
not
like,
just,
it's
right.
like 2037 or something crazy.
It's not just this year's cap. So, like, you'd rather not have to do that. You'd want to have that cap space so you can sign some of your guys and go get a guy or two if you want. But it is what it is. So I do think, Severson is probably the guy that does probably get moved if I had to pick a guy. Compared, Elvis Merzlikins could get moved too, but if I had to pick, it's probably Severson, my opinion.
And maybe some of the other UFA kind of guys too.
Yeah,
might just not, might not see them re-sign or something.
Yeah, Elvis Merzlikins has not been doing as good recently, but as a whole, generally speaking, he's been doing pretty good, and he's a reason why the Blue Jackets are where we are. But Stanley Franks does a good point here that 5 goals for your last 5 goals for 6 games is not good. You just can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
So,
just for our audio listeners,
there is improvement that does need to be there. You could make that argument that maybe you should try something different that's not Elvis Merzlikins.
Just so y'all know, audio listeners know what the comment was. Stanley Frank said, and I love Elvis, but the guy was averaging 5 goals against per game, so 6 games leading up to these last 3 games. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, and I also feel like the team chemistry got kind of jacked up there for a minute due to returns and lines changing and everything, and I think that does not help because we talk about like the defense letting them take more shots, but besides the point, you have different people playing in front of you now sometimes. Maybe you're used to saying things a certain way to certain players, and they understand you this way, and other players maybe don't understand you a certain. You know what I mean? There's just so much more going on the ice than that the goalkeeper is doing than just sitting there blocking shots. They're directing things down on their end too, and so.
And you don't like having guys out like the Blue Jackets did because for a good chunk of this season. They did not have Yegor Chinikov. They did not have Erica Branson. They did not have Boone Jenner, other guys down the list that they didn't have as well. But because they didn't have those guys, there was just a certain way that things went and a certain lineup that was in the game, basically night in, night out, that you just get accustomed to just how those things were. And there's some truth to what you're trying to get at there, Hefty Duck, is that if you're Elvis Merzlikins, if you're Jet Greaves, or you're Danil Tarasov, you kind of get used to how the way things are in front of you defensively, from first line, second line, third line, fourth line, offense, defense. Like, you understand what it's like in front of you. There was a certain way of things were going. And then when you do get those guys that come back, which is good, but when you do get them come back, that does upset it a little bit, and it does upset what kind of chemistry you had there, and it does take some time to get going again and figure that out again and get back to where things were. So that does play a role into it. There's just a lot of stuff going on there. Now on to the final game that the Blue Jackets played of the 4 games, which is against Ottawa.
This one, let's go over some basics and we can talk about it in detail a little bit more. 29 shots on goal for the Blue Jackets to 30 for Ottawa. Ottawa shut them out 4-0. So once again, we have a close amount of shots. Blue Jackets are taking a decent amount of shots as opposed to some games we talked about. but they're just not getting there. They're not going in. Either the defense is really closing in on them heavily. People are learning what they're doing. They're watching video of them of when they were doing well this year, and they're looking at why they were. I mean, it'd be a fool to think that people are not there 100% taking this team as a threat, and they are coming prepared. And we're about to see them play them for the third time here tomorrow, and we'll see if the Blue Jackets can make any adjustments because third time in like a week. They played them March 29th. They played them last their night on the 6th, and so this last one could get a little ugly. I mean, yeah, the Blue Jackets maybe not technically battling for a playoff spot, but we'll see. I mean, to be fair, the second period I thought went really well because Ottawa only scored 2 in the first and 2 in the last, one of them being an empty net goal too. So I don't know, man. What do you think?
It just comes down to this for me: is that that first period, you start awful, just ridiculously bad. They score 2 quick goals, and where's the defense? You just let Daniil Tarasov hung out to dry. It was just disgustingly awful. Like, what was that? Where is the defense? Where is the defense? I just don't get it.
Yeah, Elvis wasn't even really brought in almost because Tarasov was doing bad. It was just because the team was like not present in there.
And the second goal that the Blue Jackets give up was especially just atrocious, just disgustingly bad. You let a dude, he's wide open right in front of the net. No defense by him whatsoever. And he shoots and scores. And Werenski, credit to Zach Werenski, he tries his best. A real good effort there. He tries, gets back, but by the time he gets back, it's not in time. The puck's already in the net. So, like, I can't totally rip on Werenski because he tried. Good effort. You tried. It's just too late. And you're leaving a dude wide open in front of the net, shoots and scores. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You can't do that. And like Hefty Duck said, that's why Daniil Tarasov gets pulled. It's not exactly because he was playing bad. It's just because where's the defense? You're hanging him out to dry. And then on top of that, it's more of a let's get your attention. It's not a knock on Daniil Tarasov. It's not his fault. If anything, if I'm Dean Evison, I'm going to Daniil Tarasov and I'm saying, hey, man, it's not your fault. Do not feel bad. I'm not pulling you because you're playing bad. I'm pulling you to get our team's attention here. Like, let's go. Get going here. We cannot play like this. Like, let's go. Get going. Play better. To get their attention. And to their credit, it did work because as soon as that happened, there was no more scoring from the Ottawa's perspective in that period. Did the Blue Jackets score any goals? No. But after that, they played so much better. That period, they really did. They really took over that period. It was so much better. And Kent Johnson, Adam Fantilli, and Boone Jenner. No, Sean Monahan, Boone Jenner, and Kent Johnson took over that period, basically. Every time they had an offensive shift out there, they dominated. They had chances to score. Did they score? No, but they had a lot of good chances, and that was the line that Dean Evison threw out there to get going. And to a certain degree, it worked. Second period, much better. You did not... Much better in the sense that you played much better defensively. You did not give up a goal. Did you score? No, but you played much better defensively. Third period, you gave up 2 goals and blah, not good. And that's basically the game right there, is basically 1 out of 10. For the most part, you looked awful. There were some moments there where you looked good, but it's just, for the most part, just awful. Just not good.
The only reason, in my opinion, that it would be a 1 out of 10 and not a 0 out of 10 is because of that second period. But other than that, like I almost want to say 0 because it's the second one in a row. They got 0 goals 2 games in a row. That's really rough, especially when you just played this team. I don't know. We'll see how tomorrow night goes for them, I guess. Hopefully they
It,
can pull it together.
yeah, I'm putting this up on. So the game
Oh
of
yeah.
1 out of 10. But I'm putting this up on the screen. This right here, Elvis Merzlikins was called for tripping when it's not even close to being tripping. As you can see in the play, Elvis Merzlikins, he's making a play on the puck, and he sticks his leg in
For a
the puck
save.
to make a save, and he gets called for a trip, which is just
How
ridiculous.
how in the world was he supposed to save that and stop? Like, maybe Knees was going literally at the crease. So, like, if he would've kept going where he was going, they made contact almost in the top of the crease too. God, dude, that's such a like, not that, like, that one single call is what caused the game, but look at he literally flies like Superman. Like, dude, that looks like embellishment to me as well. I
And
that
and I remember when that happened, I was watching it on my TV and yelling at the TV like, "That's not a trip." Like, what's he supposed to do? He's trying to make a save here. Just ridiculous.
yeah, that is some goofy shit, dude.
Uh, it just no. But anyway, so just throwing that out there that is not a trip. It's just not. I'm just no. Another comment from Stanley Franks. He says, "I think we only have to sign Voronkov next year, so plenty of cap with a couple expiring contracts like Corelli, we can eat a little of Sivo or Elvis's contract. Good to finally catch up with you guys. Yeah, good to
Yeah,
catch up
nice
with
seeing you again,
you.
man. We've
Good to
been
finally
doing
catch
some
up with
random
you.
times.
Yep, good to finally catch up with you too, Stanley Franks. There is some truth to that. The Blue Jackets do have some cap space to where they could eat a little bit of Damon Severson's contract or Elvis Merzlikins' contract. I personally would rather not do that. That is a last ditch option for me. Like, if you got to do it, fine. But I'd rather try and find different options too before that because last year there was all the last off season. There was all this talk about how, oh, Patrick Laine wants to get traded and what are you going to do with that? And then it's like, oh, crap. He's got an $8.7 million contract. And for the most part, no team is going to want to touch that because, like, yeah, Patrick Laine has had some good moments for the Blue Jackets where he's looked awesome. And then there's those moments where he just looks ridiculously awful. And that was most of his time for the Blue Jackets, where unfortunately he's looked ridiculously awful. And then it's like, well, how are you going to get rid of that contract? $8.7 million. It's expensive, and most people aren't going to want that. But to Don Waddell's credit, he found a way to get it done. He traded him to Montreal, and Montreal took all the contract away. So the Blue Jackets didn't have to pay that. So
There you go. Your problem now.
yeah. There you go. Your problem now. And that, for the most part, that's what it's been for Montreal. Because you read the comments from Montreal fans, and it's like he's had some good moments, but we basically don't like him playing, and it's a waste of contract. And what is he doing? Power play merchant and a bunch of other stuff. So
We'll see if he gets the old Pierre-Luc Dubois treatment.
yeah,
Ends up on his, like, 3rd team in 3 years.
yeah. So yeah. So that I'm not putting it past him that maybe Don Waddell can do that again and find a way to get rid of the contract completely, whether that be Elvis Merzlikins or Damon Severson. I mean, you could trade both, but in my opinion, it's one or the other. I don't think you can get rid of both. So maybe Don Waddell could do that, where he could find a way to do what they did with Patrick Laine and get rid of that contract for good completely. Maybe, hopefully, but if you have to, then fine, eat some of that contract and get rid of it. But for me, I'd rather not do that. That's a last ditch option because, in my opinion, that eats into all that cap space that you have that you could use for something else that you could use to fix your team. That's
Yeah.
just me. That's just me, though.
Matthews just proving year after year why he was really the first round pick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So moving on, I'm going to show the. So Adam Fantilli did score 2 goals against Nashville, and I'm going to share that. I'm going to share the first goal. So here we go. I'm going to put it up on the screen. So the setup is this. The Blue Jackets are up 1-0. They have the puck in the offensive zone. And this is a goal that the Blue Jackets truly earned. They worked hard, they worked their ass off, and they earned this goal. Puck's going to go around. Boone John's going to get it, go around the board. It's going to work around here. Kent John's going to get it past Matejchuk. Matejchuk, it looks like he's going to shoot it. And then at the last moment, going to pass it over to Fantilli. Fantilli's going to shoot and score. So here's the goal. Ooh, got to turn off the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So Fantilli gets it, goes to Matejchuk, goes to Boone Jenner, goes up to Provorov, then goes to Kent Johnson, and Kent Johnson draws this guy right to him, goes to Matejchuk. Now, Matejchuk, he's kind of in a shooting position, so it kind of looks like he could shoot it, so that kind of freezes this guy and this guy right here. Even this guy to a certain extent, but he kind of has to focus on this. So he's kind of in a shooting position, and then in the last moment, he's going to pass it over to Fantilli. Fantilli's going to pop out over here. He's going to shoot and score. So overall, this is a pretty good goal here for Adam Fantilli. So here again, Kent Johnson. There's then Matejchuk. Looks like he's going to shoot it. And then the last moment, over to Fantilli, and he's going to shoot and score.
Sick. Glove side. Was Saros in net?
Yes.
Yeah. You say Saros in net.
Look at this. Now, he's got a wide open net, but this is not exactly an easy goal because this guy is right in front. So if he shoots it wrong, it could get blocked. So that does
Boone's
make it
not fully ready for the rebound. He's on one knee getting up right now, so he'll be there quick, but not maybe quick enough for the rebound.
Yeah. So Fantilli, this is kind of a hard goal for him because he does have to shoot it right. Because if he doesn't shoot it right, this is going to get blocked by the guy in front right here. And he has to shoot it right away because even if, like you said, if he does get it past him, he has to shoot it quick because Saros is going to slide over and could stop that. So there was some difficulty to this goal, but pretty good there for Fantilli to get it past this guy and quickly shoot it into the wide open net. So we'll play this one more time here. Hefty Duck, your thoughts on this goal here?
I'm trying to not say I thought of a pretty cringy name that I wanted to call Adam Fantilli the other day, and that is Adam Fanthrilly. Because we, there's Kirill the Thrill, right, in Minnesota, and I just, Fanthrilly. I'm trademarking that. No, absolutely sick, dude. Once again, showing how. I mean, it looks like he just swats it in. He just nonchalantly just swat. Yeah, granted, Blue Jackets are making a mockery of the Nashville defense in this play, but without that clean shot from him, man, I'm so excited to see more of what he becomes in the future. I still wish he would have had that full season last year, but I think he's caught up. I think he's caught up in his development now. I think that next year is going to be a record-breaking year for him some way.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's
besides
no,
the point, goal is cool.
no, but there's some truth to that because had he was really going on a heater, they're coming on strong in last season, in particular, the month of December and January, and he was really starting to play real good. And had he not got hurt, in my opinion, I'm of the belief that he would have kept that good play going and just continued to be awesome and continue that play. But because he didn't, it did take some time to get back to where he was because he basically didn't play a game from like January till October. So like that's 9 months there. Like that takes some time to get going. But once he did get going, he's been fun to watch, and we're seeing why he's an awesome player and what he can be.
Yeah. Frank's had a couple more comments here just real quick. He said, this was an amazing season. The fun part is we lost 20 games we could have or should have easily won. With a couple moves, I think this is first time in Columbus history we're going to be in contention, an actual contender, not just making it to the playoffs. And then he about Adam Fantilli, he says, I believe it's Andre Fantilov, according to Marchi and Verani. I love it. Can't wait to see them all grow together and get a lot of good chemistry between all of them soon.
Yeah, so I saw this on the Blue Jackets TikTok page, and I'm going to play the video. It's just a different perspective from Adam Fantilli's goal, so I'm going to play it. Well, the thing I like about it, and I'll pause it, is you see the perspective of what it was like if you were at the game when you see Fantilli scoring the goal. So I think that's cool. Like you see,
I like when they do that a lot.
The crowd's hand going up, celebrating. You know,
it really takes you into the energy of the game too, especially these last few for the year. I think usually some of these are like the most packed they'll be. And I don't know. I may try to get down there for that last home game.
I will be there this upcoming Saturday, the game against the Capitals. It's KIRILL Marchenko bobblehead day, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's
well, because my mom and dad, I'm paraphrasing, but they're like, you're kind of hard to buy for your birthday, so what do you want? And they're like, well, can you take me to Columbus to see the Blue Jackets play? And they're like, oh, okay. So that's just when we could do it. So we're doing it. Yeah, so that'll be fun. I wanted to play this last week on the show, and I couldn't do it because my sound went down the pooper. But this is what it was like when the Blue Jackets won at the outdoor game. And this YouTube channel, Pennsburg Hockey, captured this, and I want to share this. Also, when Ohio State wins, the football team, they play Carmen, Ohio, and they did that for the Blue Jackets. They played Carmen, Ohio when the Blue Jackets won, so that was cool. So I'm going to play this video. Put it on the bingo card. I did not put it up on the screen. There you go. Got boys and girls. All right, put it up on the screen. Here it is. Oh,
this is the quickest.
You shitting me, dumbass ad.
Way to clear out stuff.
I hate YouTube. Also, that might be an issue. Just because it's not on Twitter or anything. I'll look for the email if we go down. If you're watching on YouTube, if the stream gets taken down, just find us on Twitter. We don't have too much longer to go, though.
Yeah, whatever. up as Carmen.
Stanley Franks. Actually, it's a late birthday for Kevin. He said, "Happy early birthday, Kevin." So me and Kevin share the shared birthday. Our shared birthday is on March the 12th.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Stanley Frank. So I appreciate that, even though my birthday was back in March 12th, but that's okay. Thank you. Here's Carmen, Ohio.
That's cool. They all stay on the ice too, shaking hands. Did I say someone's? Did I just hear someone go, "Michigan, get fucked"? I think I just heard someone say it.
So that's basically it right there. Anyways, I do a couple more clips to share. Well, but first, Hefty Duck needs to talk about some stuff that I plug in my computer.
What? Oh, so recently the Blue Jackets have signed. Kill me. I have to pronounce this. Guillaume Richard. All right. For our audio listeners, that is spelled. It's a French Canadian name, so it's Guillaume, and then Richard is spelled like Richard. I think that's how you say that. Pretty sure. Anyway, a couple of stats from him. He played the last 4 years at Providence College, and this last season, 2024-25, he was an alternate captain. He's a defenseman. He is 6'2", 187 pounds, according to EliteProspects.com, and he played 37 games, had 2 goals, 12 assists, for 14 points. He had 14 penalty minutes, and he was a plus-minus of 7. So far, he has played 2 games for the Cleveland Monsters, and in those 2 games, he has 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. So it's a plus-minus of +2 right now in the AHL. So good luck to you, Guillaume Richard. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I am not French nor French Canadian. I don't know which is worse. But yeah, just a little update for that.
Yeah. All right, so now we're moving on here to some other videos, the clips that I have. So the Blue Jackets played the Vancouver Canucks recently, and Matthew Olivier scored a goal to make it 6-5, and this is also on the Blue Jackets TikTok page. This was the crowd reaction to that goal being scored. So here's that video.
So cool.
We'll play one more time, but there it is.
Stanley Frank says I got the name right. Thank you. I always try to listen to the radio when it comes to this stuff. Bob McElligott, because I know Steve Mears and all them are going to have it, but like the radio, I can pretty much listen to a little bit, like almost every day, right? Or at least like on their page.
I like it. I like the video, the crowd reaction to Adam Fantilli scoring the goal. I like this video too to see what was it like at the game when Matthew Olivier scored that goal.
Where were you? Matthew Olivier scored the goal. And, sorry, that's kind of more of a South Park reference.
Yeah. Yeah. According to this video, it was very loud when Matthew Olivier scored that goal. So that's cool.
I believe it.
Yeah, and get the cannon going off in the video, so that's cool. That's cool. All right, on to the next clip here. Okay, that's the Fantilli clip.
Stanley Frank said he was at the Nashville game. He's rocking in there. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. Good to know.
I love the travel. Holy shit, that's loud.
Oh yeah. Okay, we got we got to turn that down. And that's music too. So we're not going to. If you want the full video, go to the Blue Jackets TikTok page with music. But this is, a video of what it was like when Marchenko got the hat trick against Nashville. There you go. If you want the full video, go to the Blue Jackets TikTok page.
I love seeing the hats just getting whipped down there.
Yeah. I'm not playing the music, so I'm not getting dinged for that. So if you want to see it, go to the Blue Jackets TikTok page.
I'm glad that at least someone had one at home this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Adam Fantilli, he's had 3. He had one in the preseason at Washington against the Capitals, and then the other 2 was in Toronto against the Maple Leafs, and then the other one was in New York against the Rangers. So apparently, Adam Fantilli only does hat tricks on the road this season.
Yep. Yeah, so at least there's one for the home crowd, because I know I remember seeing videos of like somebody out there throwing their hat for Fantilli, but I mean, I always I get it. You shouldn't let an opposing player score 3 goals on you, but I also think it's a little bit of bad taste to chuck hats on the ice when you're at someone else's barn.
Yeah.
And I get it though. And everyone, some people are gonna celebrate. It's Fantilli, of course. I'm not trying to say don't celebrate, but
on to the next clip, which is also from the Blue Jackets Instagram page. And again, this has music. So if you want it, you want the full video, go to Lauren Rodowitz, who is one of the social media people for the Blue Jackets. So you want the full video with the music, you can go to Lauren Rodowitz. I hope I'm saying that right, TikTok page. Anyways, so the context is that Lauren is doing her job and pulling out the phone and videotaping the Blue Jackets players taking the ice. And then you're going to see KIRILL Marchenko jokingly take the phone and start using it.
I saw this. Also, Stanley Franks did mention, so the video clip I saw was of Adam Fantilli's mom throwing it onto the ice, and you cannot blame a mother for celebrating her son's hat trick. I don't think that's in poor taste at all. You go,
you're
Fantilli.
You're right, Stanley. You're right, Stanley Franks. You're right. All right, so here's the video. See, look, there's KIRILL Marchenko going to grab the phone. We'll back it up. And whoop, he got the phone, and he did it to someone else.
That was April Fool's Day too, right?
Yeah, and here you go. Whoop, he's grabbing the phone.
Do you have the video from her perspective then too? Because I think the Blue Jackets posted it of him grabbing the phone.
I don't have
I think. Maybe we'll look it up for next time.
Yeah, we'll look that up for next time.
It's still April.
Yeah, it's still April. But I just thought this was funny. Yep, there's KIRILL Marchenko. Whoop, yep, I'm gonna get the phone, and you can see it. I'll back this up. You can see it. Of course, And I'll back.
And she's laughing about it. To our audio listeners who can't see it, she is laughing about it. It's a fun thing for everybody.
Puts her hands up, like, what the heck, man? But she's laughing about it. It's fine. Yep, there it is. Put the hands up. What the heck, man? Laughing. Then it's from her perspective, that's what it was. Okay, thumbs up.
That's hilarious.
So, little locker room area right there. Players, coaches walking from the Blue Jackets locker room. So, there you go. So we'll play one more time. There's that. Oh, and there's KIRILL Marchenko taking the phone,
I feel like maybe he's been a little tiny bit more serious this year than last year, but I mean, I think this
Yeah,
season was kind of a serious season, so it's
there
nothing.
you go. All right.
But I love his sense of humor, dude. He cracks my shit.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, it's meme time. I shared memes last week, so I got another meme to share, which is, do you want to join my religion? ? It's a picture of Adam Fantilli. What's your religion ? And it's a picture of KIRILL Marchenko with his 3 goals from his hat trick. Then it's a picture of Kent Johnson, and it says, I'm interested.
That's awesome. I would love to see a Kent Johnson Hattie before the end of the season. That would be sick. He's definitely been close.
Right.
He's got it in him.
He's all right. Continuing on with the meme. So we have this guy who I'm assuming is a Michigan fan that says Ohio hasn't beaten Michigan and Columbus since 2018, and then he uses a clip from the Ohio State-Michigan game in November of 2022 of a running back from Michigan scoring a touchdown. I responded to that, and I said,
Of course you did, Kevin.
yeah, of course I did. Yes, I did respond to that. I responded to that wrong. The Blue Jackets beat Michigan in Columbus at the shoe. CBJ.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
You got to do it. Hey, man.
Let them know.
Let them know that no, an Ohio team has beaten Michigan in Columbus at the shoe, and it's the Blue Jackets. I wish we could say that about Ohio State, but unfortunately, Ryan Day struggles against Michigan, so that hasn't happened, unfortunately. But you know what? We'll take the wins when we can get them, which is the Blue Jackets have been a team from Michigan in Columbus at the shoe. So,
oh yeah,
that's right. Take that. Blue Jackets have been a team from Michigan in Columbus at the shoe. So just
shit.
throwing that one out there. All right, so I saw this video and we're going to share it. It's the day of the Blue Jackets outdoor game getting revealed. There's music in this, so go to Jeff Savoda, Jacket Insider, if you want to see it. Here it is. It's getting revealed. Here it is. This is the day of. Got Werenski, Sean Monahan. There's KIRILL Marchenko. But pretty cool video here. I thought this was cool, so wanted to share this. It's kind of a cool, like, hype video. What you thinking here, Hefty Duck?
I love when these were coming out, especially with the. I'm glad I chose Werenski too. I mean, obviously, there was no All-Star game this year, but he's plainly he went to go play the United States, so plainly the team's All-Star. So yeah, these got me super hyped for the Stadium Series. I thought they were cool. I really want one of those hats too.
Yeah.
I wish you could buy like the whole jersey, like the shorts and everything. Like that would be sick.
Yeah.
I would totally buy some hockey shorts if I.
Well, there were some for auction. They were getting off for auction.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I actually, there's someone that follows Union Blue Soldiers on Twitter. It's a girl named Jackie. She actually bought the game-used gloves that Boone Jenner wore in the outdoor game.
Oh, that's cool.
And like she posted a picture of it, and it looks really cool. So
that's cool. Maybe one day I'll have some.
And that's
Boone Jenner gloves, outdoor game money.
Yeah, I know, right? But one day. Another thing is people are like, oh, because they see Detroit wearing their outdoor game jersey, and then they see like the Blackhawks and the Blues do it, and they're like, well, it would be cool if the Blue Jackets would do the same thing. And like, yeah, I agree with you there. It would be cool if the Blue Jackets would wear their outdoor game jersey. at a home game at Nationwide Arena. But the issue is, like I said, they auctioned off all the jerseys and the pants and the helmet and the gloves and, anything else related to the outdoor game. So you can't do it.
Yeah, maybe next year when they make some more of them. Yeah, I think that was also a thing too. Is like they, like production was a little bit behind, kind of like how the Cleveland Guardians white home jerseys production is behind. I should have got that a week ago. Yeah. MLBstore.com, get your shit together. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant.
No, I get that. I get that. Last October when I did Cincinnati and Columbus trip, I saw the Bengals play and I saw 2 Blue Jackets games. And when I was in Cincinnati, I made a stop at the Red store because I wanted to get their cool City Connect hat, which is all black with the red C.
Oh,
and I wanted to get that. And I was at the store and they're sold out. They didn't have any. So I get that. I kind of get that feeling, Hefty Duck.
I almost thought about maybe just going up to the pro store at Progressive Field, but then I was like, whatever. It's a long drive.
So no, I get that feeling, Hefty Duck, because when I was at the Red store in October, like I wanted to get a Red City Connect hat, but they were sold out. It's like, well, that's disappointing. I mean, I got an Ellie Dela Cruz shirt and everything. That was cool. But, I really wanted that City Connect hat, but that's besides the point. So I get that feeling. So pretty cool video here from the Blue Jackets. But Jeff Savoda posted it, so it's from Jeff Savoda, made by the Blue Jackets. Here's this little. We're gonna put this little GIF here that the Blue Jackets posted when Fantilli scored the second goal. So here it is. As you can see, Fantilli's excited, his arms up in the air, skating, excited. You have fans in the crowd excited, hands up in the air, acting excited because the Blue Jackets scored a goal. And then let's look at the Nashville player as he is slamming his stick into the boards in disgust because, well, his team gave up a goal.
That sucks.
When the Blue Jackets posted this, I saw this and I'm like, yep, I have to share this on the show. It just has to be done. I got to do it. Got to do it.
That's the way she goes, man.
Yeah,
I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. Why not? I played this video. What is it? I played this video last week on the show, but I'm doing it again anyway. Is the Ohio State band playing music when the Blue Jackets scored a goal, which I just think it was awesome. And it was just a great way to include Ohio State at the outdoor game. So here it is.
Yeah, we can probably get away with it because it's a marching band version of the whip. I don't know. We didn't get knocked for it last week, so not gonna do it here.
Play it one more time. Here we go. Encore. Hefty Duck, your thoughts on the Ohio State band playing music when the Blue Jackets scored a goal at the Blue Jackets outdoor game?
That's so cool. It'd be cool if they just recorded the marching band playing it and played it in the arena. I don't know that would go over well with everyone, but
Right, no, you could have some fun with that. Like if every year the Blue Jackets have an Ohio State night, and you could have the band, whether it be the recording, play the goal, or have the band actually there, like at the outdoor game, and
or at least the pep
music.
band.
Yeah,
because I don't think the pep band's like the full band. I think it's just like a small grouping of them or something.
No, it is not the complete Ohio State band, but it's still a good chunk.
Like that would be cool.
Like and like the Ohio State band has been at Blue Jackets games before and has played music. I kind of like your idea there, Hefty Duck. You either have you have a recording of the Ohio State band playing the whip, or you have it's like Ohio State night and you actually have them there and play the music like they did during the Blue Jackets outdoor game. And I'll be honest too, like it kind of, in a good way, but it kind of caught me off guard. Like when the Blue Jackets scored the first goal of the outdoor game, which was Den Matejchuk, the cannon goes off, the goal horn goes off, the cannon goes off, and like every Blue Jackets game, I was fully expecting
Fidel's about to rock.
Yeah, fire, boom, and then I was expecting like the normal whip to go off, and then it didn't go off. The normal whip didn't go off, and the music started playing from the Ohio State band. Like, oh, that's cool. I like that. 5 times the Ohio State band played music 5 times because the Blue Jackets scored 5 goals. Also, they played music during the game, but like if we're talking from a goal scoring perspective, the Ohio State band played music 5 times, and it was cool.
Pretty sick.
Anyways, I think that is it I got for now. We got other clips, but we can share it for next week's show. Next week's show, well, actually, the next 2 shows actually are going to be on a Monday, because this upcoming we normally do it on a Sunday, but this upcoming Sunday the Blue Jackets play a game, so we don't do shows on the days when the Blue Jackets play because they do not do well. We've tried it, and it just does not do well. So
yeah, and like I don't ever want to run over and like get like into the game. Like I thought about doing it after the game yesterday because I don't know. I was kind of tired. I was pretty much ready to be done with thinking about it because it sucked.
Yeah. So when there are days when the Blue Jackets play on a Sunday, we usually bump it to a Monday. So the next 2 shows that we'll be doing is going to be on a Monday because the Blue Jackets play this upcoming Sunday. And then the following Sunday is Easter, and I can't do a show because that would not make, we have people over for Easter, and that would not make, my parents very happy.
Mm-hmm.
So cannot do a show during Easter. I'd be okay with doing it, but my parents would not be very happy with that because, I live at my parents' house, and they would not like that. Having people over at Easter and I'm doing a show, so no. So it will be...
That's fair.
So it'll be that Monday after Easter. And then after that, it will go back to Sundays because then most likely we will not have to worry about anything else.
Other than like family stuff comes up or, we got to move it to Monday. It's going to pretty much be at like 8 o'clock from here on out. 8 p.m. Eastern specifically. So, and then you can always catch the replay on for the audio. You can watch the replay on YouTube. It's the easiest one, or you can catch the audio on wherever you want.
Yeah, because most likely, I mean, again, the Blue Jackets still have a chance to make the playoffs. It's very small, but they still have that chance. Win all your games and hope other teams lose, but probably not going to happen. So most likely that Sunday after Easter, we will not have to worry about anything else, and we can just do a show whenever we want until the Blue Jackets come back. And then we'll have to obviously work it around that schedule again. So next two shows will be on a Monday, the 14th, and then what is that? The April 20th, I think, is a Monday as well. So those are the next two shows. Are going to be Monday, April 14th, 2025, and I think it's Monday, April 20th, 2025. It's going to be
20.
Yeah, no, 21. So the next two shows are going to be Monday, April 14th, 2025, and Monday, April 21st, 2025. So there's that.
We'll try to get better about posting about it beforehand too, but whether or not we post, we usually get pretty good viewership. Big shout out to Twitter.
That's true.
YouTube.
We got to get better about posting, but we do get good viewership even if we don't post, but there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. Kind of hard to be on social media a lot. Anyways, moving on. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That greatly helps us out. So thank you. Anyways, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please tell your family and friends. Please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, as I always do, got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Good guy, fun to talk to, the life of the party. People like talking to you, hanging out with you. Enjoyed seeing you at Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and so many family parties and holidays and get-togethers and so much more. You unfortunately died back in September. You're no longer here. I wish you were still here so I could talk to you. You're a big hockey fan and you love the Blackhawks, but you became a Blue Jackets fan as your number 2 team because of me. And I appreciate that. And I wish you were still here so I could talk hockey with you and see your thoughts on what's going on with your Blackhawks. And then I could tell you what's going on with the Blue Jackets. So wish you're still here. Unfortunately, you're not, but I wish you're still here. And shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
All right, one last thing for me, which is this. You should totally check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Follow Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. We do cool stuff like marches and so much more, like this cool march video. Let's go, Jackets! 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 So that's a video from one of the multiple marches that Union Blue Soldiers has done, and we'll be doing another one if the Blue Jackets make the playoffs. or not. If not, which seems most likely, we're doing another one like we always do for the Blue Jackets home opener in October. So one last time, check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Follow Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. So
now, oh yeah. So, yeah, I guess last thing I have to say is just, it's something around the NHL. Huge congrats to Alexander Ovechkin for making history by first tying and then ultimately surpassing the 894 goals scored by Wayne Gretzky in his career. Something neat that I've been seeing around. Y'all probably seen it too. He did it. He scored one more goal in the exact same amount of games played as Wayne Gretzky. I thought that was kind of neat. So one goal by one game, a little bit better. So congrats to you, Ovechkin. Can't wait to see you score a couple more. If Blue Jackets don't make the playoffs, that's air quotes, they'll have to cheer for you for one last cup, or I don't know. I guess maybe he has another chance next year. Anyway, this has been an episode of the Brew Jackets. Find us on YouTube, Twitter, X. Find us on Spotify, Google Play, Google Podcast, whatever I meant. Anywhere you can find podcasts, Apple, all those places. And we will see you right here, same time, same place next week on Monday, April the 14th. Until then, have a good week and